In this video, I'm going to share with you about the similarities and differences between psychedelic healing master plants Ayahuasca and Iboga. My name is Alice, I'm from A Whole New High. Welcome to our channel. So Ayahuasca and Iboga are two psychedelic medicinal plants, one from the Amazon, Ayahuasca, and one from Africa, Iboga. In the world, they're often seen as ayahuasca being the mother spirit or the grandmother, and Iboga being the grandfather. So ayahuasca, they say, is a more feminine energy, and Iboga is a more masculine energy. Me having taken both, I can say that I have felt the same. It does feel like ayahuasca is definitely a female spirit, and Iboga is a male spirit. Now, these two substances, even though they're both used for healing purposes. They both will expand your consciousness. They will give you a very different view of life. They will both give you visions, and they are both taken in a ritual setting. So this is what they have in common. And the outcome of taking Iboga and Ayahuasca can be very similar because it has very healing. Both plants have very healing effects, but the way to get there is quite different with both, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So first of all, let's talk about where these plants come from, because they're very old plants that have been used for hundreds, if not 1,000 years in indigenous settings. Well, one ayahuasca in South America and Iboga in Africa. Now, traditionally, ayahuasca is being taken with many people. Often the whole village participated in an ayahuasca ceremony, and there was just one shaman and maybe with an assistant helper that would guide the whole village through an ayahuasca ceremony. And traditionally, an Iboga ceremony was more used as an initiation ritual and would be used much less often in the lives of people. So sometimes like somebody would experience an Iboga ceremony twice in their lifetime, while ayahuasca could happen way more often, every year or maybe even more often than that. And in Iboga, just a few people would take the Iboga, but the whole village would participate in that initiation ritual and be part of the ceremony, even though they were not taking Iboga. So this is how they differentiate. Also, maybe very important to tell you, ayahuasca is a medicine that comes from a vine in the Amazon, and it's combined with a second plant. And this plant, I will not give you the name because it can be many different ones, but the second plant always contains DMT, and then it's combined to brew, and it's you drink it like a tea. It doesn't taste very good. And then Iboga also doesn't taste very good. It comes from the root of a tree in around central Africa, from the Bwiti tribe. And they would often take the bark of the root and chew on it a lot. Like you have to do a lot. Like they would do very high doses. The way that you would do it in a Western setting, for example, is you would take that powder and either drink it in a tea or drink it as a capsule. Usually if you take it as a capsule, you still open it and chew on it a little bit, just to have a similar experience to what the people go through that chew on everything, which is not necessarily a pleasant experience. What they also both have in common is that they will make you purge. They're both purging medicines. So it's very likely that you're going to vomit out any parasites that you have in your body, but also negative energies come out. So now we get to like the very main differences between ayahuasca and Iboga. And first of all, we have to start with the length. Because ayahuasca will usually last 6 hours, It can also last up to 12 hours depending on how strong the brew is, but usually it doesn't last much longer than 12 hours, while Iboga lasts a lot longer. So the first initial real deep experience on Iboga lasts 24 hours, but you can feel the after effects, and you can even have it in your visual field for 2 more days. So in the Iboga experience, it's quite intense. It's quite intense for 3 days, and ayahuasca, well, is maximum half a day. So that's one really big difference, and that's why I personally would always recommend to start with ayahuasca, because it's really difficult to do such a long trip. Then the way that ayahuasca and iboga teach is very different. So ayahuasca gives you, depending on the amount of DMT that there is in the brew, but usually gives you very cryptic visions. You will hear the music in a very mysterious way, and the music will lead you through your journey, and you will see visions. You often see snakes, because ayahuasca is the spirit of the snake as well. And the visions that you get on iboga are very different. Ayahuasca is way more, if you type in ayahuasca art into Google, if you've never done ayahuasca, you can see the kind of visions you get on ayahuasca, because people created a whole form of art after ayahuasca visions. The visions you get on iboga are much more dreamlike, like as if you were in your own dreams. Ayahuasca, the colors are intensified, it's very cryptic, but iboga is like you go into your own dream. And some people even say on iboga, you don't get visions, you are in the vision. So with iboga, it's much more like you're in your own dream world, but you are very aware in it, very clear. And you will remember it. Like, it's not like in the morning when you wake up and then you have to remember really quickly what you dreamed about, otherwise you'll forget it. Now with iboga, it's really clear. What both have in common is that you'll get very sensitive to any light that's in the room. The light may slow down its movement, and if you turn your head, like the light moves in a line, like the burning of a candlelight, for example. The way that they teach is quite different. So ayahuasca is like a feminine teacher. It's more like a mother. It can be really beautiful and healing and soft, but if you do not have a relationship with the feminine where you've had that experience, it can also be very harsh. And ayahuasca is very much into here. This is what you need to see, and you need to surrender to this. So if you can, it will be really beautiful and soft experience. If you go against it, it can be a bit harsh. With iboga, is a very different way. People often report that they just go straight into a childhood memory, and iboga is like, here, this childhood memory is what's causing your problems, and here, look at it, see it, remember it, integrate it. And then you do, and that really completely changes some patterns around that you had in your life, some beliefs around that you had in your life. But obviously that is not the case every time. Some people also report that they had a little bit more cryptic experience with things flying around, and they couldn't really figure out what they meant. That with both plants, in some cases you can actually talk to the spirit, like directly ask questions and receive answers. But in both plants, it's very important that you surrender to the experience. Really have to surrender. If you go against them, they have very different ways of showing you that you need to surrender. The intensity of iboga is definitely stronger because it lasts much longer and is more difficult for people to go through an experience that lasts that long. Both plants are used for addiction healing, and they have both had amazing results. Iboga is very well known for healing heroin addiction and has an amazing recovery rate from people that do Iboga for heroin addiction. And ayahuasca is used too for heroin addiction, also has an amazing recovery rate, but Iboga is even more known for healing heroin addictions. One last thing that is very important to know is that Iboga has a lot more safety issues than ayahuasca. Iboga, if not done in a very safe setting with some medical checkup before, can kill way more people than ayahuasca. So there's quite a high number of people that die from Iboga, about 1 in 300 something, because they have not done it in a safe setting. If you do it in a safe setting, it is mostly safe, but it is something to look out for and to know and to be really careful with and not to play around with. So this was my comparison, ayahuasca versus Iboga. If you have done if you have done ceremonies with both plants and you have something to add, please tell me. I would love to know. If you have any more questions, please add them in the comments. I'm very happy to answer them. And if you like this video, please give us a thumb up, subscribe to our channel, and then we hope to see you again soon. Thank you very much for watching.